Hello, everyone. Welcome. Tonight is the last class of the Life Magnified by Debbie Wescott. I'm really excited because this is her favorite class. So we're going to make this very interactive tonight. Hopefully you guys are not too shy and participate. Get your notebooks out. We're going to extend this into our next hour as well, because I feel like it covers the same things. So it's really important for us to awaken to ourselves, because if we can, I guess, develop ourselves, or would be able to develop our business and our family life and everything else too. So this is super important. All right, so this is Debbie Wescott for those people who are new to our Tuesday night, Wednesday day for Aussies class. Guys, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to get together and get to know each other and learn from each other. So Debbie and I have been best friends for over a decade, right? And it's crazy because, you know, we feel like soul sisters, and we were just, Heavenly Father put us together and we're just meant to meet for that short time. But you know, she feels my soul, and I've met a lot of you as well. And you guys, this is our beautiful community, so we can turn around and serve the world. So whatever we learn tonight, you know, apply it to your life and then share it with others. So I'm excited to introduce Debbie to you. She's written a book called Life Magnified, and she teaches these things to her tribe. So if you are near Debbie in Arizona, you're lucky duck. You get to hang out with her and do these fun things. So without further ado, I introduce to you Debbie Wescott.
Thanks, Jade. I appreciate that. I'm so excited. This is probably one of my favorites of this whole series that I've created. And it's probably not brand new information, but it is my perspective on it. And so I hope that everyone will feel comfortable jumping in and all of us learning together. And it might be new to some of the concepts, and I hope that it'll be simple enough for everyone to learn and grow from. So thanks for joining us. I have a vision to help spiritually prepared women discover true wellness, purpose, and potential so that they can create a magnified life. And that to me means that that we don't settle for mediocrity, that we look beyond ourselves, have an outward mindset, and we understand that the world is abundant and that we can declare, define, and design a life that is magnificent, more than we imagined it could be. And I believe personally that the greatest source of love and abundance and blessings and gifts and skills is our Heavenly Father and our Savior, Jesus Christ. So I look to them in everything I do, at least I strive to. And I have learned a lot by learning about them. So let's go. So there's 4 pillars of a life magnified that I have identified: self-love, healthy boundaries, your identity, and then declare, define, and design. We've done the other 3 classes already, and tonight we'll talk about declare, define, and design. And I'm super passionate about this one. And I especially love this quote: "Today is your day to create the life that you love. So you plan for it and you honor yourself through balanced action." Does anyone have any thoughts about that? How do you feel when you hear that quote, when you see those words?
Well, one thing is we only have the present. We only have right now. So to be thinking like that, the more you think like that, I think the more you'll be able to do that. Are these things in your book, Debbie?
Some of them, some of the ideas are in my book. Yeah, I really love that, Linda, because I think when we recognize that we really have today, it helps us be more mindful about the choices that we're making daily and to be more present in so many areas of our lives, and especially our relationships.
Hey, Debbie, it reminds me of the power of now.
Oh, yeah.
The power of now, even if you lean into it. And I like that balance action, you don't just go crazy, but just like,
yeah,
be present.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. All right. So tonight, the objective is to choose to awaken to your power, to create a life that you love, and to nurture your spiritual and emotional self so that you enhance your physical experience. I really love this. And we talked a little bit about this last week, nurturing our spiritual and emotional self. And I really, and that's through understanding who you are, what your identity is. And when you recognize that at your core, you are a child of God, and you imagine, I think about who God is and all that he has created. And I think of myself as a parent, and I think I want my children to have all that I have and more. And I can just imagine a loving Heavenly Father also wanting that for all of his children. Okay, so are you living a life by design or by default? Okay, so first we're going to talk about what default looks like. Default, I think, is just kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. There's no plan, there's no purpose, there's a lot of scarcity probably. And I'm not one who has to plan every single thing out. I love spontaneity, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but there's a way to do spontaneity that feels more productive. So does anyone have or ever have had these thoughts? There's not enough time in the day, or if I don't do it, it won't get done. Okay, I'll be honest, a lot of these things are me or were me, and I'm still working on them. So I imagine that there are those of you who can identify with this. I should have gotten more done today, like questioning yourself, am I lazy? Okay, people believing that people always need me, I'm the only one who can get this done or get it done right? Or sometimes we think it's easier to do it myself than to ask someone else for help, or it's easier to do it myself than ask my children to help. I'm sure some people can identify with that. Sometimes we have a thought that we're not smart enough, strong enough, capable enough, rich enough, pretty enough, blah, 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 all the things. Or we might have a belief that people hurt me, so I can't trust them. Or people don't understand me. This was one of mine. People don't understand me, or they don't want to hear what I have to say. It's not worth talking or communicating because we have these false beliefs about it. Or we might have a belief that you have to do X, Y, or Z to be loved, or we need others to do X, Y, or Z to love them. And all of these false beliefs, when we let them keep going and perpetuate, we can feel sad, we can feel anxious, angry, bitter, feel like we need to escape life. And then it leads to like literally physical stress and pain and discomfort, or what we call dis-ease in our bodies. It's all created emotionally, spiritually first. If we're not taking that balanced action or taking a balanced approach. Any thoughts here?
I think there should be a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm all of the above. Yeah, all of the above. I must say, especially the past 5-6 months more. Is it transformation, perhaps? But yes, all of the above, which I'm working on with Theodora
Yeah.
and with myself and with yoga, of course, because I teach that now for years. I just left everything else and just focus on yoga and well-being and mindfulness.
Beautiful.
So
Yeah.
work in progress.
Guess what? We all are. So
Yeah.
join the club.
I like how you, Debbie, how you just say often that you mention your faith is just like without doubt. I love when people like there's no doubt in their mind about just something higher.
Yeah.
What they
Because
yeah.
I live in this world, so the scientific mind always creeps in like, oh, don't be so ridiculous. But then it's like back to science, but then back to God, then back to science. I've been battling that for years and I still am. I'm not going to lie. I believe, but then it's like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Science shows.
Yeah, and
I love that you brought that up, because that's actually one of my most favorite things to study and learn about. And that's really actually what my book is about, because I don't believe science and spirit are separate. I believe that they are together, and we are missing the clues sometimes.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yep. And
Thank
also
you.
Teresa. Well, thank you so much, Demi. Teresa,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Hey, well, first, I really second what Demi said about all of the above at some time, if not now, and definitely a work in progress. But one of these really resonated with me, which is, now I've got to find it. Oh, I must do XYZ to be loved. In my family of origin, my father told me again and again and again, you have to be respected to be loved. So what was missing was the unconditional love of a parent for a child. And I was taught that I needed to meet a standard to be loved. And as a child, I didn't even understand the difference between love and respect. And this also did, this affected my whole life. And another thing it did was it messed with my boundaries. And so I had this problem with knowing who I was, basically, and where I began and others started. And I think it led to my chronic pain. I really believe that had an influence. So
Yeah.
That's the one that got me.
That resonates with you. Yeah. Thank you for that,
Definitely.
Teresa. Here's the beauty is that we can learn these experiences and learn from them and grow from them. And when we know better, we can do better, right?
Right.
So that's what I hope for everyone tonight, that in some way, big or small, that you'll have some aha moments, that you'll awaken to yourself and understand that you are of divine nature and that you are loved and you are enough because God says so.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Debbie, a couple of weeks ago, you said on the Facebook thing not to live your life in a way that you don't have to escape your life.
Yes.
And that's how I felt too when people say, hey, I can't wait for the next holiday. And I'm like, yeah, you're having fun, but you can have a fun life right now too.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Why live a life that you want to escape from? Yeah. Another friend said that to me several years ago, and it's always stuck with me, and I absolutely love it. So let's create a life that we're just going to enjoy and love all the time. So, okay. So what are, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I need to learn how to do the hand raise on the, anyway, just,
it's okay.
That just reminds me of something I've been thinking a lot about. And when you said on your last frame, do you always want to escape life? And that's what resonated with me about what you had, your very last thing. And you, Debbie, you know my life, you know my family, you know how I live, and what is there that I would want to escape from? Because I have a good husband, and my children are wonderful parents to their children, and I have grandchildren. So I started thinking, why do I feel, because I will escape with a book, with food, with TV, I will just want to get away. And I've been realizing that what I'm needing to escape from, or think I need to escape from, is what's going on in my head. Because of,
interesting.
Oh, like you said, I should have gotten more done. I should have, just being so hard on myself. And so that's what I want to escape. And I think, okay, I should have some control over this. So I've been, anyway, we don't need to talk more about that, but that was just something as I read that I thought, my life, I don't need to escape, especially, I mean, my husband is retired now. My children are, I don't have a lot of the stresses that I did. So why am I needing to go hide somewhere? And I realize it's because I want to get away from this. So anyway, we can talk about that later, but
sure, I can resonate with that, Linda. So I'm so glad that you shared that, because it's our degree of passiveness, and we don't realize the passiveness means like there's that broadcasting that keeps on going and going without us controlling it intentionally. And that's where we have to now own our power. And so Debbie is, talking about the creation, or owning your power to create. And so that is opposite of that passive, mind chatter.
Okay. While you were talking, Linda, I had to write down the thought that came to me. And I was going to wait and share it, but I'm afraid I'll forget. So I'm going to share it right now. So the activities that we are doing are not bad if we are actively choosing them. Like we intentionally choose it. But if it's the passiveness, it's the passiveness that is the problem. I think that's exactly what Jade was, communicating to us, is that if we design it, we plan it, like, I really enjoy this show, and so I'm going to plan that I have an hour to watch this show, or I really want to read this book, so I'm going to set aside 30 minutes or whatever to read this book. So the activity itself is not bad, right? It's not. It's the way, if we allow it to control us instead of us managing it, that's when it becomes, then we stop being agents to ourselves, right?
Or if we just think we have to be doing something really good all the time and we feel guilty for those.
Oh, I love that you said that, because we'll talk about resting. Okay. All right. So what are these beliefs creating? Okay. And I think we've probably talked about a bunch of them right now. So the fears, the limiting beliefs, like we fear that we don't have enough time or money or intelligence or motivation, or why do I have intelligence in there twice? Must be really important. Organization, quality relationships, or spiritual connection. Like we fear we don't have enough of these things. Or the fearful beliefs create a lack of personal power and direction, a lack of confidence, a lack of self-care. If we don't have confidence or personal power, then I think it's really hard to understand that we need self-care, and then self-love. is the root really of all of that. And then we create stress, anxiety. And do you hear that word? We create it. We create it, or we make room for it within us. So stress, anxiety, headaches, tension, stomach issues, body pains, inflammation, just like what Teresa was talking about, her chronic pain, she now recognizes as a result of some false beliefs that she attached to in her life. And the bottom line is we decide that we're a victim. And so we fall prey to these false beliefs and then create these results according to those false beliefs. But if we can make some of those switches in our paradigms and have a faith-filled, expansive beliefs, then we can create something completely different. We can create a life magnified. And so we can choose to nurture beliefs that we have all the time that we need to do the most important things today, or for the next hour, or whatever it is. I am a good steward of my time on earth. I am not idle. So that word idle is interesting, and I think I have it later on in one of the other slides. But when I think of idle, I used to think of that as being still or just not doing something. I don't think of it that way now. I think of it as lazy. And to me, lazy is as much a choice as being active, but neither for the right reason. I don't know if that makes sense. So now I think of resting is different than idle. Like intentional resting is different than idle. Okay, I allow time for play and rest. Okay, I have abundant resources. I'm excited to wake up every day because my why motivates me. And the intentions of my heart are true. So think about that. I hope everyone has a little notebook or something that you can write down the things that resonate with you, that maybe are things that you can ponder yourself. Like, what are the intentions of my heart? Because I think that is an absolute essential thing to focus on, is the intents of our hearts. Okay, I'm intelligent and knowledgeable enough for all that I need right now, and God will enlighten and expand my mind. The glory of God is intelligence. And that doesn't mean being a know-it-all. It's not that. It's a gaining of knowledge and then using that knowledge with wisdom. So how about I am neat and organized as I work through things one at a time. There's order in all things. I don't know about you all, but I love to think that I am a great multitasker. But my multitasking isn't always productive. And so I have to consciously remind myself to do things one at a time. Like, I'm going to work on this, and then I'm going to work on this. Now, there are some things like folding laundry and listening to a podcast. I can multitask that, right? But there are certain things that you can't, or that you shouldn't. And so you just have to be mindful of those choices. Okay, I put things in their proper place and take time to beautify my surroundings. Cleanliness is godliness, is next to godliness. Okay, sorry, hang on one second. No. My cute little puppy dog wants to join us. So I really love these principle things. And those really resonated with me from Jade, because this is how Jade teaches her children. She teaches a principle and then an action to go along with it, and instills in them that principle. And then things don't have to be a fight, because they understand the principle. like the glory of God is intelligence. So school is important, or, or doing your best in school is important, or learning new things is important. Okay, I am loved and I love others by respecting their journey and timing. We're all on different journeys. And so it's really been an evolution for me personally to learn to respect others' journeys and unattach from some of my unfair expectations of people. And that has been liberating for me and probably for them too. I create healthy boundaries and practice equal energy exchange. So being unattached and letting go of expectations is not, okay, what am I trying to say? So creating healthy boundaries is for me. Letting go of expectations is honoring other people's journey. Does that make sense?
Yep. Setting them free.
Yeah. Okay. And then choosing to nurture my relationship with God, the divine, daily, and seeking their grace and receiving it as we change, because I don't think we are meant to be here and remain as we are. So it's okay for us to make mistakes and overcome obstacles and believe that we are victors. I am a victor. Okay, my mind, body, and spirit are balanced and grounded. I experience all emotion and allow them to pass through me. So that pass through me part is probably one of the most valuable pieces of intelligence or knowledge that I've received as a divine download, that when we hold on to stuff and we don't let it pass through us, it can become a problem. Just like that chronic pain or inflammation in the body, or constant getting sick, or all kinds of things can manifest through us holding on to emotions that are not serving our highest good. Okay. So, yeah.
Go back the slide. Demi, go ahead.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks, Jade. I hear this a lot. Like, it's because I follow Eckhart Tolle and all of these other teachers.
Yep.
I find it difficult to grasp, like to let go of emotions, because being a very emotional person, I hold on a lot, and that has made me sick in the past, and I'm still trying to let these things go. So what do you mean by just allowing them to pass through you? Because I feel them too much. I need to, yeah.
Jade, did you have a thought?
Yeah, so I'll answer that, Demi.
Thank you.
So what we teach, so there's a lot of stuff here, by the way, guys. If you can write it down, take a screenshot, watch the recording again, because, take your time and make these decisions. It's about a decision, okay? So, when you make a decision, when other people and the world have their challenges, your decision is challenged. So if you say that you're a clean, organized person, and when, your mother-in-law says, hey, you're so messy, right? You're challenged. But if you believe that you are firmly, then her words have no power over you. But if you don't, she will. So it's likewise with everything else. All right, so we're talking about the inflammation here. So before we get there, Demi, what we teach people is emotions is just a result of your thoughts and your beliefs. And your thoughts and beliefs come from your subconscious sometimes, and sometimes it comes from patterns that are inherited, right? And so like the way your mum reacts or responds to things, your dad, and then generational stuff of reaction from traumas, whatnot. Okay, and so when we have these emotions, right, it's a clue. So feel it, don't get scared of it, feel it fully, and ask yourself questions like, why do I feel this feeling? And then it's like, because I think these thoughts. And why do I think these thoughts? Because I believe I suck, right? And I believe there's nothing else out there in the world for me, right? Or whatever the belief is, then you go, boom, boom, I found it. Okay, and so once you find that belief, right, and you understand your thinking, your subconscious thinking, then you can say, okay, let's write the opposite of that. I believe that I am loved by God. I am divine. I do believe that. And guess what? This is where our power lies. Our power lies in the fact that we say, I choose to believe this new choice now.
Yeah.
When you're indecisive and you're like, well, I'm not sure. Or then, then you're like, oh, I'm not sure which one I want to anchor myself to. Right. And so when you haven't made a choice, then you're going to still feel those emotions until you are sure. The emotion starts to change. The emotion is the result of your new thoughts and beliefs. So suddenly when you feel strength and you feel power and you feel confident and you no longer feel hurt and offended, right? You've chosen, and I give this example all the time. I always felt like, oh, I'm not a good enough mom, because I've measured myself with other measures. And then, just one little thing someone says, well, I'm offended. Oh, I wish I could just tell her to explain myself to her. But I figured it's not her problem. I'm the one feeling the feelings, right? And so I figured out, because I feel like I'm not enough. And that's why I'm not a good mom. But if I talk to God and God says, hey, you are a good mom. As long as you follow what I tell you to do, you are good. You're doing the right thing, because God is the author of good or bad, right? So then I'm like, okay, I do believe I'm a good mom. And one day, and this is a blessing, one of my friends, she said, hey, I felt like you were neglectful because I never see you at church with your kids, only your husband. And then I was like, oh, hey, it's okay. I'm doing trips. But I did not feel one little smidgen of offense or pain or hurt of any sort. And I'm like, I did it. I did it, because this would have offended me in the past, but I don't feel that now. So I nailed it. So that's an example. It's your opportunity to find your thoughts and your beliefs, and then really choose to change your thoughts and beliefs so that it creates new feelings. Does that make sense? And so we have,
it's hard to do it.
that's the belief too. That's the belief too, because I believe that God loves us and that we can do it. Otherwise, He wouldn't have sent us here. I'm confident in God's confidence. You see? So we will help you identify one thing at a time. And those physical ailments give us clues where to start and what to go with first, right? So the inflammation is like fire. Fire, like you're facing that pain or offense, and then you feel it and you're like, okay, let's sit in this for a moment. What is this teaching me? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And then, oh my gosh, like I get it. I'm thinking this because I feel this, because I believe this. Got it. Now I'm going to choose to think this and believe this, and then it passes. And then you've done it. So the inflammation is like you're feeling inside of your body. It's acute. So when you bump your elbow, you have an acute inflammation. It passes. But when you keep on saying, yeah, I suck, I'm the worst, blah, 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 and I feel this way, I feel this way, you keep on sitting in that space. So when I have friends that say, oh, I've got diabetes, my friends had it for 20-something years, that's inflammation, okay? And so I tell them, okay, you have been thinking these thoughts over and over and over and over for 20-something years plus, right? And let's change the way you think for a moment and see if it changes. 3 months, they're healed. You see?
Healed, meaning
Healed, like
no medication.
Medications.
That's a big cause. Yeah, that's where I struggle.
Yeah.
My doctor's given me some time because I suffer with anxiety for many years, but I know that's because I've got a crazy Greek family. Love your mum and dad, but they're nut jobs. Sorry, guys. But I've been given some months because it's genetic of high blood pressure. And I've never had high blood pressure ever. It's always been really low. But these past 5-6 months, I've just been experiencing weird out of this world stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling between trusting my doctor or trusting myself, which I did, and I threw away the meds. But I'm still monitoring my blood pressure, and it's a bit erratic, but she's saying that's fine. Just come back to me, every 3 months. And that's where I'm struggling right now, because I believe that I don't have it, but it's there.
Yeah. So
because I'm healthy. I don't have sugar. I don't have gluten.
Yeah, Jimmy, you've done well. But there's that generational thing that you're talking about.
Oh.
So once we identify the generational thing, we can actually heal for that. But that's another day. That's another day, and that's another conversation. Hang out with us. Hang out with us.
Oh, is it? When's that? I'm on for that.
Keep on hanging out.
Keep coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
A whole course on that. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So we'll do that. But that's for everyone else. That's the general idea of what we mean by chronic. Is in you're thinking the same things, you're working on the same things, and then it goes round and round in circles, and you keep on yourself, right? But then the acute is facing it, be brave, you're letting it, feel it, and working it out, and then letting it pass. Okay, so that's what I and you look, guys, and it works.
Yeah. And Jade, I think what happens, and I've experienced this for me too, once I make a decision about something, I believe this.
Yes.
And then I begin practicing it. Something will happen that gives me contrast, right?
Yeah.
That kind of tests my resolve.
Exactly.
And until it's like super, super solid, like you got to that point where you weren't offended by that anymore.
Yeah.
But until then, we're going to still have a little bit of contrast coming to us, to give us the opportunity to practice standing in our belief and letting things pass through us. Because it's really a choice.
Yep,
it's really a choice to just be present and mindful with it. And the other thing is taking 100% responsibility instead of blaming someone else for it. And it's such a beautiful thing when you get to this level where it doesn't hurt your feelings anymore. You begin to transcend, the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Awesome.
4 hands up. So make it quick.
Yeah.
Ashley, and then Susanna, and then we have, I think it was Teresa, and then Kat. So go in that order. Ashley.
So mine was just an example, but you got it all, Jade. So really, I have a moot point. So just carry on, because I know that there's a lot to learn.
So thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much.
Susanna next.
I was just listening to Demi about the medication, and Demi, I'd love to talk to you another time, because I was on really, really heavy medication that my neurologist put me on, and I had to make that decision. Do I have, it controlled my mind. I wasn't aware of, I didn't even know how to spell my last name anymore. And so I had to weigh up, do I have, my mind or my body be at ease? So I can share with you my story another time, but I love Melissa because it's the oil of adopting light. And when you think of Melissa, think of it as a torch in darkness, illuminating the body as it travels through you. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I just got chills. Thank you for that. That's so beautiful.
Yes, thank you so much.
Jade.
Hang out with us, Demi, and we have these beautiful conversations all the time, so we'll dig deep in. Kat, was it Kat first or Teresa? No, it's Teresa and then Kat. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi. In my life, I realized long before I learned about essential oils and empowerment, I realized that I've been doing this to some extent, changing my thoughts and beliefs so that I could be healthier. But it's been a difficult process. But throughout that time, there's some scripture that has helped me a lot. And it comes from Mark 9, where a father had brought a son that was possessed of what he called a dumb spirit, which had caused a lot of difficulty. And Jesus told him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And the response of the father is, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. And so I have relied upon that so many times. I believe, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. And it has been powerful and transformative for me.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I love that so much.
Go ahead.
Do we
Kat.
have Kat?
Are you still there?
Hey guys, yes, thank you so much. I just wanted to say, I just heard Debbie say and Jade say earlier too, making a decision. And that's, I think, the key is because I remember the 10 steps and that's the second step. It's like you have to make a decision. And that helps me when you guys remind me because it's just in my mind. And the truth is, I wasn't listening to Heavenly Father or what he was saying to me. Even though I was reading, I wasn't paying attention to me in my life and what I was doing. And sometimes it just helps to be in, groups like this, all you guys. And I just wanted to say thank you because it's helping me to remember that I'm on purpose and I have a purpose. As long as I listen to God, there's nothing wrong with it. But I want to beat myself up. And it's like, that's only because I think it's mine and it's not mine. And so it's just really cool. So thank you guys.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so if we decide that we are 100% responsible for our lives, then we will understand that our decisions determine our destiny. So you get to declare who you are and what you are about, define what you want and what you will do to achieve it. And then you get to design your self-care, your self-development, your abundance. You get to schedule your time for relationships, work, fun, and rest. So things don't have to be left to chance. They can be by choice. So here are some really important things that I personally learned from the account of the creation. That a vision that was outward focused, that this earth was going to be created for God's children to enjoy, to grow, to learn, and to become more of who they're meant to be. It was a big plan or a dream, and it was broken down into parts. So they decided what day to do what. And a really big understanding for me is that spiritual creation precedes physical creation. So again, we go back to those beliefs and thoughts and words. Those are creation power. And the things that we believe, think, and speak they're merely on a spiritual, emotional level first before they come into actual reality. If you think about a house or a building, people design it, they draw out plans, and it's created in the mind first before it happens in a physical world. And I think the same is true for us and our experiences in our bodies. So each day was organized. There was a goal or a focus for the day. It was designed, drawn out, and recorded. I think it's an interesting thing that there was a division of darkness from light, not an elimination of darkness, but a division, because there had to be, things were done in a proper order to provide contrast. Okay? Words are our creation power. And what we focus on most becomes reality. So I want you to think a lot about what you think in your mind to yourself and what you say out loud. And then on the seventh day, they rested. So we know that rest is important. Like truly, truly resting is important. And we can do it by choice. Okay, the power of thoughts and words. This part is powerful, and I love this. So these are scriptures that I found Some of them from scripture that we use along with the Bible. It's a book called The Pearl of Great Price, and there's an account from a book of Moses. And these phrases are contained in there. And this I did by the word of my power, and it was done even as I spake. And it was so even as I spake. And I, God, said, and it was so. And were made even according to my word. And then we have from the Bible, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Oh, that to me is so powerful. We can speak words of life, or we can speak words of death, right? The wholesome tongue is a tree of life. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver. I just think that's so lovely. So our words are our creation power. We draw to us what we focus on. It's the law of we reap what we sow. Does that make sense? That's in the scriptures too. So limiting language creates limiting results. Expansive language or words create expansive results. So what do you want to focus on? Possibilities or limitations? Okay, we reap what we sow. And then God can magnify our efforts. So however weak we think we are, the effort is what's important, and God will magnify it when our hearts are with pure intent. And then we can learn to manifest by living in the energy and the emotion of what we desire. Okay. So I love this quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. You're right. All right. Everything is energy. And that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. So when we talk about energy, everything has energy, and particularly and especially our beliefs, thoughts, and our words. So we talked about this a little bit earlier with the generational thing. A belief is a thought repeated, heard, or learned over time. It becomes a law to the body mind. Okay, so that's how we inherit things. When we say something, this is hereditary. Well, yes, it is. However, science is now proving that our DNA is not finite. It is it's evolving, and that we can actually change it. And we change it through our beliefs, thoughts, and our words. So Jade already talked about this. Our beliefs create thoughts, our thoughts create words, our words create action or results. Our results are the evidence of our beliefs. So if we really reflect on that and we look at our lives and we're honest with ourselves, we can really follow that pattern back, like Jade explained, and find out what the belief that is the underlying cause to the evidence we are experiencing, the experiences we're having in our lives. Okay. And then Hebrews 11:3, through faith, we understand the worlds were framed by the word of God. Amazing. Okay, so some of this, the next few slides are really foundational to the declare, define, and design. So let's talk about our brain. So we want to manage doubt and fear, and we want to manage it well, because I believe God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. That's one of my favorite scriptures. So we have a subconscious brain, or some people call it the primitive brain or the toddler brain, and it's about the immediate self, and it's about survival. So our subconscious mind, it warns us of danger because it wants us to be safe. I actually think the subconscious sometimes gets a bad rap because it really is there to serve a purpose. So we love it for all the good things that it does for us. It wants to feel good. And sometimes that means it just wants to be comfortable and have ease and no disruption. And so it avoids change as much as possible. It might even quit. Like if something doesn't feel good or immediately feel good, it just might be like, oh, forget it. I know people that would rather quit than fail. So, or they just choose not to try. Okay. It can make us insecure or believe that we're not loved or that it's hard to love others. It might make us think that it's hard to sacrifice, and so it seeks instant gratification. Okay, I know all of us have been there. Okay, and these things are rooted in the natural man, and the whole idea here is for us to rise to our higher self, to really discover I think it's almost a remembering of our divinity, and then coming into an alignment with that by choice. So the primitive brain is often a follower, it often blames, and it's often very defensive. So we are striving to rise above that and allow our spirit, our divine self, to be the boss. So, any thoughts right there? Or should we keep going? Yeah.
Okay. So, so I was talking with Jade today, and she had said something about anybody wanting to teach a lesson the next week, and I was like, oh, I can or whatever. And then immediately I was like, what did I say? Like, what am I doing? Like Debbie can do it, but I'm not Debbie. And so, I was like freaking out a little bit, and I was like, all right, Jay, just tell me that I can do it. And so she was like, you can do it. And I was like, okay. So I hung up the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've got 1 week, I've got to get started on this. And then all of a sudden I felt like right now the stress is without God. And my daughter said to me, my daughter said to me just the other day, because she really struggles with math, and she doesn't even want to start sometimes because she's just like, I'm going to fail, and she freaks out. And I said to her, I said, do you think that I'm smart? And she said, you're kind of brilliant. You're kind of a genius. And I said to her, I was like, did you know that I used to feel the same as you? And it was because I would, if it was hard, I had to put in the effort. And then all of a sudden, it became important to me. And I really started, and kind of the end of this is, turning to God, and it feels like you can do anything. And so after I had my little mini freak out, after I committed to Jade to do it next week, all of a sudden I felt like soaring, and all these ideas come to my mind, because I'm like, like I want to share all these things, and it's not just me, and Heavenly Father, like, let me be a vessel, like, just make it what you need for it to be. And then all of a sudden, when it wasn't mine, it was everything, you know what I mean? And just like knowledge flooded, and things that are not even mine, you know what I mean? And ideas that I haven't even thought. And I just feel so grateful for the knowledge that as soon as we do it with God, literally it's limitless. And so to me, I feel like, as you do grow closer to God, and you strengthen that trust, and when you give something to Him, you allow Him to do it His way, and are open, you really, because He is limitless, you know what I mean? Because He is omnipotent, and and is all powerful, and can do anything. Whenever He connects to your spirit, you have all that He has for you to share. And to me, that is powerful. And it like, I went from being like, to like, yes, let's do this. You know what I mean? And so it was very much like a change, and within 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Like within 5 minutes, like there was like the fear and like the reaction mind, you know, like you were talking about. And then there was okay, now bring it to God and see what we got. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, God, thanks. I got this. We got this. I don't got this. You got this. And I'll do it with you. Yes.
Yeah. So it reminds me of that scripture, lean not to thine own understanding, right? Because thine own understanding, we make it about us. And when we stop making it about us and we make it about, you know, what do I need to do? What can I do for other people? How can I serve them with my best self? And how can I connect my divine self to God? Then he will magnify everything. And we see that just from what you just shared, Ashley. Thanks so much for that.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
So
that access, isn't it? As soon as you access the power of God, you have, you know, limitless resources beyond your own. And so why not? You've got a whole library of information if you want that. Sorry, Debbie. Dimi, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, just very quickly. Deb mentioned that proverb, trust in the Lord. That is my fave. I actually was meditating, well, you know, frequently, and just all of a sudden, I just got this thought or this proverb. I'm not religious as such, but I did go to a Catholic school. So we read through the Bible and studied it, right? Like with the nuns. But I remember that just when I was meditating, that word, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And I thought, what is that? I was trying to find it. I thought, I don't know what it is. So I Googled it, and then I just got the goosebumps. I thought, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. I just got the goosebumps again because I was questioning everything. I thought, okay, you're in charge, not me. So just, I don't know anymore. So I love that. I love it. I really do. And I keep repeating it and repeating it.
So thank you. You got it. That's the secret. That's the secret. You know, we override our heart with our brain. So yes, I tell people this is the order of alignment. You feel it, you move forward, and your gut instincts will confirm because it feels good, right? And then your brain will follow. Will follow. So it doesn't lead. If you lead, you're using your limited understanding. How can you use your current knowledge and understanding with new situations, right? You haven't experienced it and you don't know anything about it yet. So the only way we could do it right is to follow the heart, and the brain has to let go and say, I don't know stuff, right? But you got it, you nailed it there.
But he does, yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful, that's perfect.
Love that proverb.
Me too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the mature brain of the future self. This is what I love. And I think it can be ourself now, but I love this quote that I always think of it as, do something today that my future self will thank me for. And it helps kind of keep me in check, keeps me balanced. So we can take focused action on the results desired, feel fear or stress, but presses forward in faith. So we're talking about this brain, this divine, expansive, mature brain. We can choose to believe that we can do hard things, because some things are hard, right? Like I don't think we have to like try and talk ourselves into thinking that nothing is going to be hard, but that hard things are sometimes valuable. So we view our failures as lessons and obstacles as opportunities. We see the benefit of sacrifice, not as a martyr, but for mastery. Okay. We seek to discover the purpose of our pain. Yeah. With the sacrifice one.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
That's
me too.
Awesome. Thank you.
That was not mine. God gave that to me.
I love it.
Sometimes we give up something now for something better later. Okay. That's the essence of sacrifice, right? We get stronger with experience. We love ourselves and we love others, mistakes and all. Because we recognize that each of us individually is a child of God and he loves us. We're rooted in the divine, the God and ourself. God and ourself. We accept 100% accountability, no matter what the circumstance or the condition. Okay, it is a powerful thing to not feel like you have to blame something or someone. It is so powerful. So we choose to be the creator. We choose to allow our spirit to be the boss. And this Stephen R. Covey quote came to me probably 30 minutes before I started tonight, and I had to include it. So if you want small changes, work on your behavior. If you want quantum leap changes, work on your paradigms. So those are your values and beliefs. Okay, so this is where we're going to get into the nitty-gritty about declaring, understanding who you are, your identity, and who you intend to be. And all of this is about choice. Okay, you don't have to wait around for other people to decide for you who you are. You get to decide. And our best example of this, I believe, is Christ. He declared who he was and what he intended to be and do. He says, I am the light of the world. I am your redeemer. You know, all of those things. He had all of these words to describe his purpose. And we can do the same thing too. When we affirm who we are, we're most likely to behave congruently with the choices of the thoughts we've chosen to have about ourselves. So that can be positive or negative, right? So if you believe negative things about yourself, guess what? You'll behave congruently with that. So why not just choose positive? Okay, you're not stuck. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. Okay, so when I am having those times, like I understand, you know, I relate to everyone, but especially when Ashley was talking about yesterday, hearing she might be doing something, and then the first thought that came, the doubt, and then all this stuff, and then confirming, like, so when I'm having the doubts, I've made a conscious decision, whether I realize it or not, if I'm believing that, right? So, like, I mean, I may not have made a conscious decision, but I've made a subconscious decision, I guess is what I'm asking. Like, if I'm in my doubt, like I've somehow, if I can't get out of it, it's because I made a decision to go there, and I didn't make a decision to be me and let God show me today what I'm doing and what the next step is and how to sacrifice, you know, my pride or my need to be so important and all that, and to just be me and allow the universe to show me and be, you know, my teacher. But if I want to control it, I'm just, yeah, I'm getting confused there. So thank you.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is that, like, some of these thoughts come in and they feel like they're just happening, right?
Right.
But it's always, the thought is always tied to some paradigm or belief that we've either absorbed or a perception that we've hooked onto, or maybe a familial tradition, belief, you know, that has kind of been passed on to us. But at some point, this is the whole idea of tonight, is that we awaken to ourselves and recognize that a thought is just a thought and I can change it. Right?
Right.
And so I think that is the point that you're coming to now. And it's a practice, you know, where you recognize, oh, this thought is not serving my highest good. What would I like to believe instead? Right?
Yes.
And then you get to release that false belief and plug in a new one, because we don't want to leave a void there. We don't want to just cast it out and then do nothing, because that's a little bit passive, right? Okay.
Yes.
So we want to be agents to ourselves. We want to actively choose what it is that we want to put in that place. And if we need to write it down and post it up, if we need to record ourselves saying it, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to kind of instill it within us. And that is the balanced action, right? We don't have to get like, we don't have to get hyper focused on it.
Yeah, it's helping me because I think the words like declare and choose or choice and decision are all kind of like coming together, because they're all me saying, I'm not going to listen to me any longer. I'm going to declare with the truth or speak truth or make a decision based on truth. So yes, it's awesome.
Oh,
This is great. This is really awesome. And one other thing about the paradigm, what making quantum leaps, like paradigm meaning like what Stephen Covey did with the 7 habits, or like what Jade is doing with and what you're doing.
Your belief.
What's working for you?
Yes, all of this.
Yeah. So, Kat, remember this afternoon we talked about the 3 voices in our heads. So we've got God's voice, which is positive, and like Debbie said, it's expanding, right? And then there's your voice that you have the freedom to choose both, right? And then there's the darkness, right? The Satan's voice, we can say, right? And that is limiting. So as soon as you feel and you recognize, right, that, oh, wait, I'm feeling limited, right? Then recognize that you have unintentionally chosen to follow the ladder. Okay.
Okay. That's what I was trying to figure out. Okay. Yes.
Danger is we think that's our voice. We own it. But it says, no. You know, this is you. Who do you think you are? Right. Yes. And so when you say, hey, that's limiting, actually, that's not my voice. All right.
Or God's, right?
Or God, right. Because pause, because you recognized it, you're aware and you awaken to it. You're not a victim to the feeling and the emotion and the thoughts, right? And then you pause to rewire, pause to reprogram, right? Yes. And that's where our power lies, right?
Okay, yes. And that's thank you, because I guess it's like the decision, like when I'm in that thought and I know I'm in that thought, it's just consciously making a decision, like I'm not going to stay here any longer. I'm going to, reflect on what is truth, and I'm going to make a decision to do the next right step, or whatever it is that I'll feel proud of tomorrow. Or I liked what you said, Debbie, also, as far, and both of you, I mean, all you guys are awesome, but how you said how something that's going to improve your life. I mean, I would say, like, what can I do today to feel proud of myself tomorrow? Or like when I wake up in the morning and say, I did it, like I got it done. Just that feeling is awesome. And it helps to be reminded of that. So that's great. Thank you so much.
What can I do today that my future self will thank me for? Yep. Yeah.
Debbie started
all right.
Brain that says, I want to take the easy path. Okay. So we're just kind of like, rewiring that brain. Ashley, go ahead.
So I'm gonna give you an example because I know exactly what you're talking about. So so this was a couple of days ago. My daughter had gotten into this disagreement with a girl, and my son was complaining to me like I had gotten onto him about something, and I had apologized, and he was like, well, I'm used to it. And so I was like, why is this bothering me so much? Why is this bothering me so much? And I was just contemplating it. I was on a run. I was just contemplating it. And I was like, it's because I believe it. It bothers me because I believe it. And so I'm like, why do I believe this? And it's because I was looking for validation as being a good mother, or even sometimes like a good wife, like trying to keep my husband happy or something. I was looking for validation. And so I was like, okay, why do I need validation from them? And it's because I was not looking to God to fulfill my divine role as a mother of children and as a daughter of God. And my divine role, sometimes I have to work it through. I'll even be in my journal, why did this bother me? It bothered me because, you know what I mean? And then because I needed validation. Why did I need validation? I needed validation. So I start this even with a prayer, and I'm writing it down. I need validation because I'm not already validated on the inside. So I need it validated on the outside. And so is this right? Obviously I know better than that. No, that's not right. Okay. So how can I be validated on the inside? I'm validated on the inside by knowing my actual true role as a daughter of God. And as a daughter of God, I know that it's my job to teach my children. It's not my job to entertain them. It's not my job to make sure that they're always happy. You know what I mean? And so after I work this through, you know what I mean? Like, this is not my job. This is my job as a daughter of God. And if I'm fulfilling my job, I know I can look straight up to God, you know, and say, am I good? And he'll say, you're good, girl. And then
Awesome.
I can press forward. But for me, like, I almost have to take it from, it's almost like a math problem. You know what I mean? You have like this
Yes.
long division, and then you have to work it all the way through
All
down
the way
to
back.
the very,
Right.
yes.
And I hate
And
math.
so,
You're right. Thank you so much.
well, that's something that I do, and then I can fix it. And then from there, because I'm like, what is the matter with me right now? You know what I mean? Why am I losing my temper with my kids? Why is my head busy with things that are inconsequential? And then I'm like, all right, time for me and my journal and God. Me, my journal, and God. And then that,
Journals are awesome. That is so
Yes.
cool. Thank you for reminding me
Yeah.
of that too. That's so great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I love that. So we kind of walk the steps backwards. It's like when you got to find your keys, right? You're like, where was the last place I was at? And you keep going back from there until you find it. So you found the key. So you're the author of your own story. You get to change it at any moment. You get to change the chapter. You can rewrite stuff. You can create new stuff. Like, you get to decide. Be you, because everyone else is already taken. Okay, that one was powerful for me, because a lot of people are passionate about the things that I'm passionate about, and a lot of people do similar things, but I could have talked myself out of this a million times, except for that God helped me know that my voice would reach just the right people. So, and your voice will too. So don't dim your light to help other people feel comfortable. Be you, and the world will adjust. So declare, I mean, literally sit down and write a personal declaration. And this is mine, and I kind of broke it down because people are kind of like, where do I start? What does it look like? So mine, I start with my name, and then I say what my identity beliefs are about me. So I'm a beloved, connected, because being connected to God is really, really important to me. I want to feel connected to him. I want to be a receptacle of his truth and love and light. And then what will I do with that light? My light shines so bright. Like, what's the purpose of it? Penetrates and overcomes all darkness and doubt. And then I go into my hopes, qualities, characteristics, and then my mission and purpose. You'll see my mission and purpose in here is in the blue. So if you need to screenshot that, that'll give you a guide, but you can literally declare who you are. And I promise you, I don't have this all completely memorized yet, but the first two lines are an anchor to my soul. They help me remind me who I am when I kind of slip into those moments of doubt or fear or feeling not enough. And they kind of bring me back and help me stay grounded and rooted. Does this help everyone understand about declaring?
Yes. Thank you. I love it.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Awesome.
Like what she said,
Okay.
anchor it in. That means this is your foundation. You've made that choice.
Yeah. This is who I've decided. And you know what? I started this probably 6 years ago, and this isn't exactly what I had the first time. So I just want you to know that it can evolve. I will revisit this every 6 months to a year and see if there are parts of it that I want to change or enhance or realign. But this one that I have written has probably been pretty solid for a good year and a half. So I encourage you all to do that. It's such a powerful activity to do. Okay, so next, do you have decision fatigue? Oh, yes, like Yeah. Like if we haven't decided, if we haven't made some foundational decisions, then we will constantly be encountering things that challenge those decisions. And when they come, it's really hard to like know where you stand unless you have made some decisions ahead of time. So these are 3 different categories that I love. I got this from a book, and forgive me because I didn't reference the book, but I will find it and I will post it. Anyway, so it's freedom from guilt. So these are decisions you can make in advance. These are usually moral code questions like, I won't lie, or regarding chastity, or regarding money. These are standards you determine are not negotiable, so that when you're in a challenging situation, the decision is already made. Okay. The next one is freedom from doubt. So these are fork in the road decisions, questions about dating, marriage, school, career, finances. These are things that you're given options for. So you want to be able to study it out in your mind, maybe put it all down on paper and weigh the pros and cons. I like to fast sometimes when I'm making important decisions, because I believe fasting helps me be more reliant on God than reliant on temporal things. So I will fast as a practice to connect to the divine. And then I pray to know if it's right. And oftentimes I will make a decision before I pray and then present that decision to God so that I can get a clearer answer. Okay. If I just go to him and say, what should I do? I have this and I have this. I don't always get a clear answer, but if I have studied it out and I've made a choice, then I can often feel a confirmation of truth or a stupor of thought. A stupor of thought is like I'm getting nothing, or I forget about the thing. Then I know that I can go in a different direction. Okay, and then freedom from fear. So daily right or wrong decisions. So these are preparation things like temporal and spiritual. Like in any given situation, like ask yourself, I know it's cliche, but what would Jesus do? This is about living in integrity. So the beauty is that once you've declared who you are and chosen all of those things, all of these categories will probably be a whole lot easier, but especially the freedom from fear, because you're choosing characteristics and qualities that you're going to live by and nurture within yourself. And then as you honor them, you are less and less afraid. Okay. All right. So here we are on define again. Do you have decision fatigue? Make as many decisions ahead of time as you can. Doesn't that sound so much easier if you have some foundational decisions already made? It doesn't mean that they can't change at some point. If you need them, if you get more enlightenment and you shift a little bit, like that's okay. But if you have a foundation of beliefs that helps you helps you have more clarity when you're presented with a choice in certain areas. So what do you value? What do you believe is right and true and good? And you design your life from there. Okay, you determine what you like and what you don't like. And then as far as your schedule, I love this little graphic. I think Jade did a class about this before, about the quadrants of where to place things. Schedule what you love first. What do you love? What do you love most? Put that first. Oftentimes we just go to default would be to put work first in our schedules, right? Default would be like, my house has to be clean first. And those things aren't necessarily true. It might be for you, but you have to decide what you love first. And and put those on your schedule. What is urgent and important? Okay. Those are things that we do right away. Okay. What is important but not urgent? Do it soon. Like literally schedule it or plan in your mind when you're going to do it. Essential things first, important things, and then other things. And then maybe there's things that you can just let go of or give to someone else. I'll give an example. I really love a clean house. It's one of my most favorite things in the entire world, is to walk in my door and have everything kind of be orderly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just orderly and generally clean makes me feel really good. And I think it's because it invites a good spirit in my home. But there came a time where I was like struggling, at least I felt a struggle to keep up on the things that I really wanted to. And then I prayed about it to Heavenly Father, and I had this client coming to me for energy balancing with faith sessions, who it's a college student, and she's focused on school and isn't working right now because she was focused on school. And Heavenly Father was like, why don't you ask Kendall to help you clean your house in trading for her sessions? So it's a win-win, because no longer does her parents have to pay for her session, and no longer do I have to worry about keeping my house clean. Like, we found a solution. God helped me found a solution, and she felt so empowered to be able to take care of, the opportunity to have her sessions herself by trading her services. And she's doing a fabulous job. And so I get help, and she doesn't do everything, but I get enough help that I feel very content and satisfied. And it allows, and it opens my schedule up so I can do more of the things I know that God really, really wants me to focus on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and the truth is, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. If you don't want to cook dinner, you don't have to cook dinner. Now, is that the smartest thing all the time? Probably not. But honestly, what it's about is about taking ownership, right? So I don't even like to say phrases like I need to or have to anymore. I don't like to say those phrases because I feel like I'm giving my power away. When I say I choose to do this, or I want to do this,
or I get
to do this, then that feels so much more powerful. I take ownership of it, and I have no one to blame, or I don't have to feel sorry for myself or anything like that. So the other thing is, natural consequences are a sufficient signal for direction or change. Okay? If we try something out, or we make a mistake and it doesn't really work the way that we thought it did, or we have some consequence that isn't so great, then we know that we can make a change and switch that. And just remember that consequences can come in positive ways, and that encourage us to keep going in the way that we're going, or they can come as a negative consequence. So there's two kinds. I think growing up, a consequence felt like a negative connotation, and I think I've switched that belief in my brain, so it's really helped me understand how to speak about things. And then I like to plan about 3 months, and we'll get to that in a second, but Jade taught me this: plan 3 months at a time. And then at the end of that 3 months, I get to evaluate, edit, and evolve. Is that helpful to everyone?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Wants to say
Yeah. Go ahead.
So with you planning, I love how you said the thing about your house being clean, and you probably if it would have just been Debbie taking care of Debbie, you probably would not have thought to ask this girl to clean your house. But because, you know, you were open to God's, you know, limitless knowledge, she probably even needed the money for that. And so, you know, you guys were both served by that. And I feel like that's just further, that just further supports the true belief that God will support us as we provide him, you know what I mean? Because a clean house isn't necessarily like, you know, like, oh, I was dying and then I was saved. You know what I mean? Like, it's not dramatic, but because it's something that allows you to have more joy, and because that's what you're seeking, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
He even in these desires that are specific to us that we might think are like maybe menial, you mean, because we come to him and we have this desire to help and to experience higher joy, he is there to help support that.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was such a blessing to me on so many levels and enlightened my mind. First, it let me know that he cares about what I care about, right? Second, he knows that the intent of my heart is to have an outward mindset and to do things that help bring more love, you know, wellness, purpose, and potential to other people. And so if I'm using that time that I might normally, you know, 2-3 hours or whatever to clean the house, to do other things that he's asked me to focus on, it's really a win-win for both of us, for me and this gal. So, and it was so cool because we set up parameters around it. We said, okay, let's try this for 2 months. And this is the amount of time. And we set up a schedule of chores, and it just felt so balanced and it felt so right. And so at the end of, I'm coming to the end of June, and we'll reevaluate again and see if she still wants to do it or not, right? And we might need to make some adjustments, and that's okay. All right, thank you so much. So a few years ago, I had, for myself, I wanted to sit down and figure out what were the things that I wanted to include in everyday life for me. And so I came up with this list of kind of categories. Some of them are specific and some of them are more of a category. So number one is, I call them the bookends of my day. So how I begin my day, how I end my day is all encompassed in number one. Okay. And scripture study is really important to me. I also love personal development. Well, that's number 6. So I'll go in order. Meditation, doing my personal declaration. So all of this, like 1, 2, and 3 is all in probably the first hour of my day. But it makes such a difference. Like any day that I don't start that day, I can really feel a difference, and not always in the best way. So these things are now, I don't have to think about them. They now come naturally because I chose to practice them over and over and over. And so now they just come really naturally to me. Number 4, true nourishment. This is one of my divine downloads, probably a year and a half ago, actually a little bit longer than that, probably 2 years ago, but particularly in the last year and a half, is that food closest to its natural state allows me to have an increased divine connection. I don't know if other people have found that to be true, but for me, that was a divine download. And so I focus on true nourishment as much as possible. Do I falter sometimes? Yes, absolutely, because I love sweets. But I have learned to really listen to the spirit and be mindful about my food choices for the most part. Physical activity. So moving your body. And I'm not like super, I am not like crazy, like I don't even know what the word, obsessive about physical activity. There are things I enjoy and things I don't, and I choose to do the things that I enjoy. I love to hike. And so I figured out for me how much I could hike every week, and I honor myself by honoring that physical activity, because the purpose of my physical activity is not so I can be skinny and beautiful and all of that. It's so that I decided it's because I want to be strong and capable. That's why. It was deeper. And then personal development. I am dedicated to it. I'm super passionate about personal development. So I read or listen to things that will improve my mind and my spirit and my perspective. Okay. And then relationships. Okay. This is one I think can be a little challenging sometimes, because we forget to treat our closest relations as most important. So really dedicating time to the people in our lives is important. And I'll be honest, that's an evolution for me. I'm still learning to do better at that. Okay. Self-reliance and wealth, like when those things are daily, even in my window treatment business that I do, I'm a consultant. I pray every morning that I work for the clients I go to see, that they will be in abundance, that they will feel abundance, that they will feel love, that I'm not like I am not a salesperson whatsoever, but I am a relationship person. And so I go with the intent to love people and to leave them better than I found them. That's one of my mantras. That's one of my personal creeds. Leave people better than I found them. And then try and find a way to serve someone every day. And it could be as simple as opening a door for someone. It could be as simple as carrying groceries, or it could be super, super simple. But the point is to be listening for those little divine nudges. If someone's name comes to my mind, oftentimes I might just pull my car over and just shoot a text to them if I have time, or put a note in my phone to contact that person. So you find a way, because I believe that we're all connected, and that if someone's name comes to my mind, it's not by mistake. Okay. And then, of course, care of my home, my personal space, and to have gratitude for everything. So this is a lot. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not once you kind of get into the practice. But I would when I arranged this, I would just keep it posted up in front of my face all the time to help me stay in the mindset of these things that are most important to me. So these are about your personal habits that you want to be congruent with your desires and nurturing who you are. Okay. Any thoughts about this? Any comments?
I love it. It's really awesome and very inspiring. Thank you so much.
This is very important.
Good.
I've done it for years. On the weekdays, weekends, I write about each of these areas. My husband too, and over the years, all the things that you focus on changes and improve.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you attract the right books, the right people, the right situation to just create more of those good things. So keep that in mind. It seems like it's a lot, but those are the areas of our lives anyways. So if you have any of these areas that are amiss, you feel it.
Yeah. So why not be intentional about it? And the thing is, when it becomes part of who you are, things start to happen in synchronicity. So I love what Jade said about, books show up. Things like I don't have to go looking for books and things anymore. They just show up for me. Like I'm like something will show up, or something will come on my Audible feed, or someone will recommend something and I'll have a sense about it, or even a YouTube video or something. And the things that I care about, God cares about it because I care about it. And those things just now come to me. I never really have to search for them anymore. I know that he's blessing me with that because I've chose to be more and more in alignment with him. Okay, so designing your life. This is your personal habits and your daily strategies, kind of what we just talked about, and how to calendar items. So on the next slide, which we'll get to, we'll talk about time blocking. And then ask the Lord to magnify your efforts or carry and strengthen you when you have a lot to do. I love Jade always says, sometimes we go fast to go slow. So yeah, there are going to be times when we feel like we're doing a lot of things, and then we'll have a little reprieve. Or sometimes he's like, no, leave that for later. Leave that for later. Like he will magnify it. Like if he's asking you to rest or asking you to focus on someone or something different than what your own agenda was, you can ask him to help you. Say, Lord, that I'm going to have to do this at some point, and he will guide and direct you when to do it. And he will just take care of it for you sometimes. That has happened a lot. So we experiment and then we refine. We also allow for seasons of life. So understanding that when you're a mother of small children, that's going to look way different than it does at my season when my children are grown and I have grandkids. So just be patient with all those seasons and be present in that season that you're in. Okay. And Jade really hounded this into me when is the dreaming part. Is dream. Like, I don't know if any of you have a vision board, but I fully believe in vision boards.
Love
And
them.
yeah. So that's your chance to dream. So to put all the things on there that you hope and you want to, attract into your life. And then honor yourself. Keep your word to yourself. Because I think I used to not trust myself, and I'm getting really a whole lot better at that, because I'll keep my word to myself. If I say I'm going to do something, then I do it. And that's how I have strengthened the trust that I have in myself, and that's honoring me. So trust God to take care of the things and the people when you are directed to do something else that he asks you to do. Okay. We can choose to believe that he is the perfect caretaker, because it's true. He is. Okay. And like, I think we talked about this way back, cease to be idle. I don't think that means that we're not to be still. I think stillness is actually very underrated. We need to do more stillness, and we need to value rest. Okay. Okay. Planning. What do I include? So this is just an example of things that I include on mine. Jade has hers all online on like a Google Calendar. I'm very touchy-feely, tactile. I want to see it out in front of me person. So I actually have just a simple calendar, month calendar, and I've chosen 5 categories. Purple, dreams and passions, includes my doTERRA work. So it's always in purple, but that's how I time block on my calendars. Not every hour is filled. Okay. And I think that's really important, is to not fill every hour. Also for fun or like spontaneity, sometimes I'll just block it out of my schedule and I won't even have a plan for it, but I just know that I'm free to do whatever I want to do during that time. So that's kind of the fun way to schedule to have spontaneity, is you schedule it and then you can choose to do whatever you want. Otherwise, guess what? What happens if we don't schedule it?
You don't do it. But I love this.
Does it happen?
No, it doesn't. If we don't schedule
like the fun and the spontaneity, does it happen as often as we want if we don't pencil it in somehow? Yeah, a lot of times it just doesn't happen. So And then I love this. Leave room for miracles. Don't pack every hour of every day or the week. Leave room for promptings, revelations, miracles, and gratitude. Okay. Any questions about this?
Looks like there's no questions, but I second this, guys. Take the
Did
time.
we lose people? Because we're running really long tonight.
No, 2 people had to go, but that's okay. We still have 15 people here. But this is important, guys. You know, take your time to do this. So that's why I
Jade?
into this business. Yeah, go ahead, Debbie. Debbie? Can you hear me? Go.
Thank you guys so much for this.
Are you there?
Uh-huh. Okay, go ahead, Debbie. Go ahead, Rosie.
Debbie can't hear us.
Hello. Yeah,
I
Rosie.
can. Yeah. I just wanted to just go what we've all been speaking about is I just wanted to share what happened to me on the weekend, which goes with what I've just been listening to with Debbie.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, go ahead. Keep speaking.
Jade, can you guys hear me or did I lose you completely?
We can hear you.
Okay, for some reason I can't hear you guys.
Okay. So Debbie, just one moment. As you try to resolve it, I think, yeah, Rosie was going to say something. Go ahead, Rosie.
Yeah.
Please share your story.
That's all right. Is Deb okay? Are you okay, Deb?
I logged in again with my phone. So on my computer, I can't hear you guys. Can you see my screen?
We can still see the screen. You can still move it. I saw you moving it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
So go ahead and finish your comment, your story, Rosie.
Okay, so we had planned a workshop in a little town 4 hours away from here, from Sydney. And I had organised everyone. Like I had organised that this night we're going to stay at a motel because I'm not sure if anyone knows, but here in Australia, in Sydney, we've actually in lockdown with the virus. And it was just coming on borderline and people were starting to get a bit fearful. And because I had organised this workshop weeks ago, the people in the workshop were okay. But then people were starting to listen to the news and Theodora and I decided we're still going to go. I sent a message out, is everyone okay? You know that we're in Sydney. These guys were in regional and they were saying on the news, do not be in touch with anyone from Sydney. Everyone at the workshop was okay. Yep, cool, come down. I'd booked a motel because my mum asked that we don't stay with her. So that morning, I was totally ready. Theodora was in the car. She was meeting me at my house. We had everything organised. And then the lady that had the party decided that she did not want us there. And she apologized. It was really beautiful. And she just said, I'm really sorry. I just feel a bit fearful. And that was okay. We said, you know, we'll try and work something out in a later date. No worries. So I rang Theodora. She goes, Rosie, keep coming. We're just going to get in the car and we're just going to go. So we decided that we wanted to see a friend of mine who had an order and we wanted to sort him out with roller bottles and speak to him face to face. So we decided we'd still see him. So we're on the way and we just drove. We just trusted. I opened my arms up. I said, Theodora, the divine will lead us. We're just going to go. We're just going to go with what the divine wants. And we just kept driving over the mountains. And then my friend that we were planning to see asked, his wife got really fearful because she was scared for us to come into her house. So they planned that we would go to a park. And we said, yep, that's okay. So as we were driving, one of the girls decided that we would do a Zoom. They would come to that house. We could still do the workshop, but we'll do a Zoom from the motel. So we did that. Sorry for keeping this really long. I just wanted to share this. It was such a great story. And so we went to the motel. We got ready. We did a Zoom for the class. It was so successful. It was amazing. Then the next day, this person that we needed to see decided that he wasn't sure. But then we got a call from someone else. We went to their house in this same town. She opened her arms up, let us in with no problem. And we did, Theodora did a healing on her, and we were able to set her up with oils. And then the guy that didn't want us to come to his house, they welcomed us. We said, we're on our way. They opened us up to their house, and we were able to share all the oils and to set him up. And on the way home, we just looked at each other and said, everything worked out the way it was meant to be. It was amazing, because at the beginning, everyone was saying, no, 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 no. And by the end of that, like, we had accomplished, and everyone got what they needed at the time. And it was because we just went, you know what, we're going to get in the car and we're just going to trust. We're going to trust that it's going to happen without any thinking. So,
Miracle.
Thank you so much, Rosie. That's the best. Yeah, that's very, very good. Yeah.
I love it. So beautiful. That's the miracles, right?
Making room for miracles.
Yeah.
absolutely. And everyone got what they needed at the time, which really was amazing. I felt, oh my God, I was so emotional.
Yeah. I feel like you're this person, angel, earth angel on an errand, and you're on a high because it wasn't about you. It's for all of them. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I love it. Should we keep going?
Yep.
We're almost to the end. Okay. Okay, so making the shift stick. Okay, so change requires daily positive habits and routines designed to keep you in alignment with your goals. So there are so many resources that we have to help us with the choices that we're making. So we use prayer, scriptures, essential oils, journaling, affirmations. You can record yourself. You can listen to other recordings, personal development, music, gratitude, and serving others too. I should have added that on here. But the point is that actually science has proven that the more senses that we can include in our decision making, our choices, our affirmations, like, that's why I believe like the oils are so important, because we can put them on our bodies, we can smell them from the bottles or diffusers, we can take them internally. There's just so many ways, and we're involving all these senses. And if we're making our choices and affirming them along with the essential oils and these other practices, then these are ways to make the shift stick. Okay, so doTERRA essential oils to support your progress. So let your spirit be the boss. So we have probably a whole lot more than this, but I'll tell you, I got a lot of these from Ben Balden's personal development course that he has, which is phenomenal. And he has oil blends that include a lot of these oils for specific things like mindset and resolve inspired action. And I don't know, Jade, please pipe in whenever you would like to, if we wanted to talk about any particular ones, but oils for responsibility, fennel, ginger, eucalyptus, rosemary, really a lot of the oils, or any of the oils that have to do with the gut, are really great for responsibility. Essential oils for attitude. So pink pepper, geranium, cedarwood, marjoram, turmeric. Oils for visualizing. Lemongrass, sandalwood. I love sandalwood for visualizing. That's really well known for meditation and prayer, which is a really great time to visualize. Like, get a picture in your mind of what your desire is, what your purpose is, and get into the emotion of what it feels like, or what you imagine it feels like to have it already present, already there. That's a really good practice for manifesting.
Hey, Debbie, like Susanna said earlier, it's she likes to use Melissa, and that can go there too for that visualization, because it's the oil of light. And
Light.
Kat, we talked about that this afternoon, the Melissa oil.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah. And then searching spearmint, wild orange, clary sage, frankincense, the oil of truth, patriarchal truth and light. I love that one. Spearmint is about being able to speak. Is that correct? Because I put some in my mouth right before we started this tonight.
Organize our thoughts, because sometimes you like have so many ideas, and then how do you put it together so that you can communicate it to yourself and others in a clear way?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And then essential oils for abundance and feeling alive. Wild orange, really all the citrus oils I love for abundance and feeling alive. Ylang Ylang helps us have a childlike perspective and outlook. Spikenard helps us heal generational things. Lime is having zest for life. Juniper berry, oil of the darkness, so it helps us uncover or see through the darkness. Eucalyptus, I really love eucalyptus too. It's like an oil of wellness, like believing that we are well. That's one of my personal creeds also, is that I want to be healthy. Like, I want to be healthy and strong and capable for as long of my life as I can. And I believe that's going to be all the way to the end. Like, I'm going to be able to really take care of myself and be well. And then essential oils for transition and change, because that always happens. Now, I'll tell you, I used to have a little bit of aversion to cilantro. I love the herb and the plant, but the oil is pretty potent. And that just told me that, you know, what helps me ponder and search to understand what that sermon is for me about changing and transitioning. Cypress, the oil of motion and flow. So we don't have to be anxious or worried about things. We just trust God and go with the flow, and things will move along just as they're meant to. And I have inspired actions under here. Blue tansy is really the oil of inspired action, so that's up in the top list there too. I just love the oils. To me, I just feel like they are the love of God for us, helping uphold us and strengthen us as we learn to declare and define and design a beautiful, magnified life. So, last few words, keep your word to yourself, honor yourself. Okay, be gentle to yourself when things don't go as planned. Start anew as soon as possible. Don't delay your progress. I always tell people when I'm doing coaching with them is that if you forget to do something one day or 2 days, that's okay, but don't let it go a third day. Always pick up.
and pick yourself up and keep going. Design your downtime so that you don't feel exhausted, that you don't feel like you have to escape. Plan for it, and then you'll have that motion and flow. Okay. Love your state, love yourself, make mistakes and all. These are the lessons that take you to the next level. If we're not willing to fail, then we're not willing to grow. So learn to stink at something and keep trying. That's really what that involves. Say no when needed. When you feel like you need to say no, say no, and don't feel bad about it. As long as you're leading with truth and love and the intent of your heart is pure, then you really don't have anything to worry about. You can be confident. Say yes when you're doubting yourself. That feeling is just a reminder of how important your intention is. Do it anyway. And then move into gratitude. It's the most powerful way to make a change. So your life is your creation, literally. So I hope everyone learned something tonight. I'm so passionate about this. I love it so much. And I really am grateful for all the input and the feedback that everyone shared, all the stories that helps all of us learn together. And I'm so grateful, and just hope we will all embrace living a magnified life. So
Wow, thank you so
thanks
much.
so much.
Give her yay.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.
That's awesome, Debbie. Thank you so much. I am glad we recorded it. I'm going to stop the recording.